I want to tell you about something that scares me. It actually terrifies me. And I've posted before, but about the problems we face as a population with dementia. Um, this is going to become an increasingly large problem as we have more and more aged people, an aged cohort as compared to a working cohort. It's going to be harder and harder to care for people with dementia. And to be honest, with my background, I'm terrified of it. I believe we need to have the conversation about voluntary assisted dying for people with dementia. Now, I'm afraid for the people that already have it, the horse is kind of bolted because I don't believe ethically it would be very difficult to make that decision for someone. What I believe is that while we are still in command of our faculties, we should be able to, with the help of professionals, set a set of guidelines or benchmarks that when they are reached, we are assisted to go. In the words of the Fleetwood Mac song, go your own way. I think it's a hard conversation, but we need to have it. Even with voluntary assisted dying, I spoke at a couple of the consultations they had. I spoke about my reservations, but my overall support of it. I'm glad it's in. It's difficult, especially for people in the country, because they must be face-to-face consultations, not like over the internet, that sort of thing. So it's hard for people in the country, but at least we've got it. It's a start. It needs to be improved. Now, I put it out a couple of weeks ago, and interestingly enough, of all the politicians around, I was approached by one. So I had a meeting with that politician yesterday. We discussed it. He'd been involved in the implementation of voluntary assisted dying laws in Queensland. We talked about our own personal fears. We talked about the issues that would be faced in trying to get this through. It was just a conversation, more a personal thing. And I got to be honest, I'd like to thank Stephen Miles for having his staff reach out and for taking the time while he was in Mackay to sit down with me, or to ring me first and sit down with me and have a cup of tea and actually talk about that. So, it's disappointing that there's so many politicians around and only one bothers to reach out. So thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that. Now, where I'm going with this, I believe it is going to get much worse. I believe that we're going to be shocked, if people actually knew how many people there are and how many people we expect to get dementia. It should actually light a bit of a fire under your tail. I'm actually thinking, and I don't know how, but we run petitions for this and that and everything else. But I would like to run a petition. I'm not sure the best way to do it, but that's maybe something you can comment on. But just along the lines of people that sign it saying they wish to have the right to go their own way in their own time. Obviously, not before time, but they want that right. And if we could get, and I'm looking big, but a few million signatures, we'd have that conversation on the board. Each state has its own regulations on it, but I think as a nation, this is something we need to think about. But anyway, over to you guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll keep plugging and we'll see what we can organise.